Morning all. I haven't shared a video for a while just because I've been trying to do like a digital detox. My anxiety's been really bad, so I kind of was like, just ignore all social media, everything for a bit to get this right first. I have just attempted lunging with 2 lines because I've been following Sharon Hunt on Instagram and Facebook. She's been sharing really helpful videos actually. Every day on ways to keep your horse ticking over without actually riding it at the moment. Oh my god, I think the last time I lunged with 2 lines, do you know what, I think I probably had to long line for my MVQ assessment a good 10-15 years ago, probably closer to 15. So both Bojack and I were very clueless. He can be quite nervous on the lunge. I think he was started, there must have been something in his past, I think he was started a bit rushed, as a lot of his type of horse are, unfortunately. So he can get a bit nervy when you've got, especially when you're right behind him and with the 2 lines. He did so well, so well, especially when at points you have to literally run behind him to get to the other side. He was really good. I was really proud of him. My tiny brain is dribbling out my ear at the moment because I was like 2 lines and I was like, wait, I don't help. And I hate dropping lines on the floor and stuff, because I think because when I did my MBQ and stuff like that, they really drill in health and safety, says the girl who lunges without a hat and in Toms. But like the lines, so I'm really panicky about not reeling them up properly and stuff, so oh my god. But I videoed both on my phone and on a GoPro on my beads, so we're gonna see if I got any good footage, and then I might share that later as a kind of my first attempt at lunging with 2 lines for 15 years. At the end we managed to get some really nice figure of 8s going. He wasn't really tracking up. For non-horsey people, his back feet weren't landing where his front feet had been, so he wasn't quite working how I'd like him, how I would normally do on the lunge. But because it was a new thing for both of us, I was just saying to myself, I want to be able to easily turn him left and right and get a halfway decent circle out of it. And then I was like, right, we'll do a little bit, try and push to get the better work. But then he would literally do a few strides and I was like, that's fine, that's it, that's fine. I didn't want to push too much on him because it was quite new for both of us. So I am going to clip him now. I know he's not in full work, but he is so hairy again already. It's been about 6 weeks since his last clip. He runs really hot. So anyone watching that doesn't really understand why you clip horses, basically you wouldn't want to put on a fleece onesie, work out, have a shower with the onesie still on, wait for that onesie to dry, like basically never be able to take that onesie off. When I do work him, okay, at the moment we're only keeping him ticking over, but he does get really sweaty. He's starting to get quite hot during the day, and I come down in the evening and he's starting to look like he's been a bit hot through the day. So if a horse can stand in the field and sweat, then it's nicer just to take that fleece onesie off so that he can regulate his temperature a bit better, because he is, like a lot of cobs, he runs really hot. So I'm going to film clipping him, and then I will do my usual 10 minutes of just watching him eat or something at the end for you guys. So yeah, sorry it's been a while since you've seen me, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye. Thank you.
Hi everyone, so I have actually filmed the intro after I've done the riding, so I just added in a little bit of me getting my boy ready. So today I'm just going to use a lunge roller with saddlecloth underneath, and then his normal bridle with the reins taken off. So I'm just going to get him all suited and booted and ready to go, and then we're going to give this lunging with 2 lines a crack. So here you'll also notice that I'm terribly lazy when my horse is fully clipped, because I've literally just taken a rug off and then put his tack on. I always groom him before he goes to bed, so he gets a nice groom, but then gets his rug on. So he's pretty much always, especially in this weather, it's dry. I'm not really worried. Obviously, if it had been raining or anything, or if it was muddy or dirty or anything, I would give him a proper brush off and sort out. But I'd already picked his feet out, and I just kind of throw some tack on.
Stand, 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 stand. Stand. Stand,
And off
stand,
we
stand.
go. So I'd only put one line on, and as you can see, I put it back to a high D-ring. Halfway through lunging, I do change that and I loop it back to lower down. he naturally, whenever he lunges, he puts his head up quite high. He's got quite a short neck. That's quite a regular thing for a cob, so getting him to work long and low can be a little difficult. So I have to be quite careful with any side reins or how I set up lunge lines to make sure I'm encouraging a lower frame rather than encouraging him to shorten his neck and put his head up in the air like a giraffe. It was difficult. It was so difficult. I really struggled to get straight lines. I'm chatting away to myself while doing this as well. Oh my god, it's so hard to direct a horse this far away from them.
Welcome. Steady. Good lad. Steady.
So I'm going to go nuts and say my horse can probably drive. He's an Irish cob, so I imagine he was broken to ride and drive. He took to this so very, very well. It was me that struggled, me that struggled with every part of this.
Welcome. Good lad. Wow, that is a big pile of poo there.
And I rent a field of someone who owns an Irish wolfhound, and I think he must have come and pooped in the field because it was, seriously guys, it was huge. It was like a Shetland had been in there. So I started off and I just wanted to try and get some straight lines. Yeah, as I said, it's been easily 10-15 years since I've long lined a horse, so very, very rusty. So all I wanted to do is do some serpentines round the field first before I then tried to get him on a circle. As you can see, I turn and then he just wanders off, but he is an extremely, extremely responsive horse. He is a very sensitive, darling boy. I think people look at cobs and they think, because, you know, they're quite hardy, they look quite hardy and quite big brutes of horses. He is one of the most sensitive, delicate souls I have ever known, and he is very responsive, and he does react very quickly to everything I ask of him. So all of this, if you ask the slightest thing, he does kind of go, oh, I'm going left now, I'm going this. Yeah, so it was a big learning curve for me, but I really enjoyed it, and I could see as we were going on the massive benefits this will have, and I need to start doing this every week as part of our schooling. I really do, because it gave me such a better feeling to have those two reins. Yeah, to actually have those two reins and have that extra bit of, I don't want to say control, but that extra connection with him. So I've just cut out a bit of the video, and now we've gone up into a bit of a trot, and I'm going to try and work on the circle. I struggled with the lines, keeping them in the right place, but on the whole I was really quite happy with how we worked together. But as you can see, he is really carrying his head quite high, really kind of shortening his neck. And as he shortens his neck, he really hollows his back out as well. So we didn't trot around like this for too long before I switched over the way I had the lunge lines attached. So now I've switched it round, and I just want to clarify, obviously before I wasn't happy with the frame in which he was working, but I was happy with the fact that he was so responsive and he was really listening to me and really trying for me. As you can see, I've now switched how the lunge lines are set up, and it's just encouraging him just to carry his head just that little bit lower, just to relax that little bit down. And the reason I want that is because I want him to, if he lengthens his neck, then he will lengthen his back, whereas when he shortens his neck, he comes up on himself and really hollows his back out. And you don't want your horse working with a really hollow back. You want them a nice long frame, so he's nice, loose and limber. So as you can see, after a while, we kind of got the hang of it. I figured out how to hold the lunge lines. He started working much better. He got into quite a nice rhythm, and we both just settled into it a bit. It was just that there was that first 10 minutes or so where I think he knew what he was doing, but he was like, oh, Mum doesn't know what she's doing. And there was me going, oh, it's been so long, I can't figure it out. As you can see, I did use the lunge line every now and then to try and get him a little more woken up, a bit more activated. I wasn't holding a schooling whip just because I knew I would get in such a kerfuffle with it. So I just thought, just have 2 lunge lines, and as we get better, I'll be able to figure out holding a whip too. But I was like, that will just confuse me far too much. So we're just going to practice. What I wanted to be able to do, I wanted by the end of this session to be able to turn him. So our first few turns were more of an L than a figure of 8. So all of a sudden he'd kind of like whip round. So I had to work on, oh, he got a bit annoyed because I told him to keep going there. I just had to keep working on getting consistent. And as I was going to change the rein, I had to think to myself, loosen out what is currently your inside rein, because that's going to be the outside rein and going around his hindquarters in a minute. But I kept doing it the wrong way around, so I'd start loosening up what would be the inside rein. So yeah, my bad, but all a good learning experience. And again, I'm so lucky to have a horse that was so patient and so, he just looks after me. He just lets me kind of figure it all out. So I was just watching this bit over, and I had to cut a little snippet out and put it in slow-mo, because all of a sudden in the last few weeks his feathers have started looking just we're starting to get a little bit of movement there, guys. It's making me very excited because he's starting to look like a traditional again, not just a cob with 90s raver fluffy boots on. So that's made me quite happy. So I'm just zooming in here. These are 2 of our better turns. So we did that lovely turn to the right, and then we carried on around, and then we did straight away, we did a figure of 8, and then we did a turn to the left. That is kind of what whenever I school him, work him, do any kind of exercise with him, I have in my head what I want to achieve with the day. So I said to myself, I want to be able to turn him left and right comfortably, and I want to feel okay with 2 lines in my hands. So as soon as that has been achieved, depending on how it's all going, if we were going really well and he was giving me like giving me so much and was like, no, I want to keep going, then I would have carried on. However, I just felt we've done enough today now, actually. I was really happy with all we'd achieved, and I was kind of like, rather than trying to push it, it was something that I'd had to concentrate a lot. He was being asked to do something we've never done together before. I'd rather than turn around and say, you know what, stop now. We've reached our goals. That's fine. Yes, he was only worked for 15 or so minutes. At the end of the day, he's not really done much for the last 3 weeks, and he doesn't need to be worked super, super hard. I was happy with what we achieved, so I just gave him a little walk round. I walked up round into his other field, and I just was then like, that's it. So I wanted to just have a little walk, call him off, and then we could call it a day.
You going? Good lad. And oh, ho ho, good lad.
So when it was all finished, I then untacked him, got his hay in a bag so it was out of the way, and then I gave him his first clip of the spring. So as I said before, he's a really hot horse. He gets clipped every 4 to 6 weeks all year round. It doesn't matter what time of year. He, like many other cobs, runs really hot, and for his own welfare it's best to keep him clipped. And as you can see, my darling boy, he does enjoy being clipped a little bit too much at times. And oh my lord, I did not realise how loud me filling a water bucket up would be. Sorry, I won't let that happen again. So after a groom, I would often give him a bath. He only had a bath on Monday, something like that, like literally like 3 or 4 days ago. So we did not bath him. Instead I'm going to hot cloth him, but it's cold cloth because I didn't have any hot water. So I'm using my Shapley's light oil in a bit of cold water, and then I just use a microfiber cloth, and I just keep bringing it out. I will get around to doing a video on hot clothing soon, but I just do this because like the light oil also is fantastic after you've clipped. It just, if you've got any little dry patches of skin, the oil is so lovely for moisturizing. This gets all those little tiny bits of hair off of the coat, and it just gives him a lovely healthy shine after, and it's really nice just to kind of like rub over so you're getting off any of that, any scurf or anything that's left on there. And there we have it, guys. I'm then just going to finish off. Once I finished hot clothing him, he had his breakfast. So I'm going to leave my usual, I think there's about 10 minutes at the end of this video for all those watching and enjoying the 10 minutes of calm during the lockdown. That was us on Wednesday. So I hope you've enjoyed this little video, guys, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye.
are you doing, Hal?